G'day everybody, welcome back to the 7 Tackle Set NRL SuperCoach podcast brought to you by the Insight Podcast Network. I'm Braino and I've got Mattrix and Whisperer in the studio to talk week 2 of NRL SuperCoach finals. Do we even want to talk about last week? Because I think we all had, we'll call it stinkers. Is that an adequate description, Josh, to how last week went?
I don't know, I'm ranking... So you know in the NBA how they talk about, this player's in like the top 80th percentile, and that's like good? I'm in the top 82 percentile. I've scored the top 82% in points. So doing really well with my 41,000 rank after I decided to anti-pod everyone that was popular. And you were telling me off air that 6 of the top 10 most points players last week were top 10 of the most owned. So yeah, great. Loving life. Loving seeing Walsh go over 100. Loving seeing Mark Tuase going massive. And all around great times when I anti-podded both of those guys.
Yeah, it wasn't the week to anti-pod, Mattrix, was it? It was, we were looking for pods and I reckon we got that wrong. Just follow the crowd seemed to work quite well this last week.
Yeah, look, it did, but I don't know. No regrets from me. I honestly, after that Broncos game, nothing can bring me down, not even my 27,000th rank.
Yeah, 30,000th for me. So you're getting some really good advice here at the 7 Tackle Set, especially in SuperCoach Finals content. Thankfully we all did okay during the regular season. But we are here to bring you, nonetheless, our thoughts on Week 2 of NRL SuperCoach Finals. The only change in terms of the rules that we'll cover will be that you get 3 players max per team instead of the 2 that you would have had last week. So only 2 games on the slate this week as well. So pretty quick, pretty easy to get through. Guys, hit the subscribe and the like button as well. And if you want to and you like the content, you want to help us get it out to more people, hit that hype button. It's a new feature on YouTube. You get 3 hypes per week. Chuck one down on this episode for us if you want it to get out to more people. And audio people, follow, review, do all that stuff. We'd love that. Thumbs up, whatever it is that you do over there on Spotify and Apple. For anybody who wants to join the overall Total Points League, we're going to be closing it after week 2 of the finals, so 605 711. You've only got this week to get involved. Today's show, we'll talk about last week. We'll go through the games. We'll give a bit of a rapid-fire review on the results from last week, all the ins and outs for week 2, our thoughts on the best options in each position for week 2, and we'll talk captains as well. Very quickly, congrats to Russell, one of my favourite team names, coach of Rissoles for lunch. Which could be one of my favourite lunches, with 1068. That's 7th overall in SuperCoach Finals, so well done to him.
What are you, 60?
Yeah, 63. Ronaldo was the only pod in this team. He had all the regulars in Brayley, Haas, Hudson, Young, Cleary, Tedesco, Mark, Munster. It was just a week to go with the most obvious option. And Russell did that. So congrats, Russell. You win yourself a standard squeeze pack, mate. So hop in our socials and we'll sort that out for you. Let's have a quick chat about last week. Game 1, Josh, it was Storm and Bulldogs 26-18. Eli Katoa killing us with the anti-pod. I don't know whether you had him or not, but I decided to go in a different direction. That didn't work.
I went against him, and it didn't bin me too much, very thankfully. Obviously, ended up going with Huddy Young, who did equally as good. I mean, Katoa was unreal. I thought it was going to be a very long night after he scored the first try of the game, and I was sitting there. I was actually at work very late in the week, and saw him go over. And my senior director is a avid NRL fan, and he knows that I make content for SuperCoach, and he was like, "Oh, you own Eli Katoa?" And I was like, "No, no."
Thanks for the reminder.
Yeah. Cheers, shout out. But yeah, didn't own Ellie, but not too binned on that front. But yeah, like a weird game. Munster 94 was the most popular 5/8 by far. But big ups to anyone who went with Stefano. 90 points for Stefano. He's actually been really good in the last 12 weeks, basically post-Origin. 1 try contribution, 3 effective offloads, 4 offloads in total, 9 tackle busts. So 90, pretty much 86 BP in 54 minutes for Stefano, which I feel like we've been saying that week in, week out for him. He's been really good this year.
Yeah, he has, since Origin. He's been real solid. And the minutes have come back up. He did have a stint where he was playing off the bench there for the most part, but very good from him. Only other notable scores, I guess, here is, Harry Grant, 63 Mattrix. It was Harry Grant versus Blake Brayley, and it only meant 6 points difference, really. So at the end of the day, it didn't really matter which way you went.
Yeah, it was about the little wins for me, and I had Brayley for the first time this year, so that was a treat. Mate, like Cam Munster injured himself a bit in this, but did I read expected to be back come finals? It looked pretty ordinary here. It was one that I was probably a little worried about during the game.
Yeah, it looked bad. As soon as he went down, I think we were playing 2K at the time when this game was being played, and it looked awful. And but then he was walking around okay after the game. So and the news is that he should be fine for next week. So luckily for the Storm.
My first big anti-pod of the week first came off the rip. Nick Meaney, 59, came off for the HIA. I was just praying to get something, just anything as a pod. Considering the late number 23 inclusion of Jacob Carraz with an 87, who was quite popular as an option. But yeah, Nick Meaney, 59, kicking goals. But yeah, had the HIA, which was not ideal. 60 points, it's fine, but it's not great when all these other massive ones went huge. But for the Storm, that was probably really it. I know that you floated the idea of going with Xavier Coates as a bit of a pod, centre wing.
I did.
He only ended up with... You went Coates? I mean, he scored 30 in BP, which feels like 100 for him. So that you take the small moral wins there. So big ups to you there. For the Dogs, 18 points, went down in this one. Obviously fought quite valiantly, but just, when you lose Stephen Crichton after 19 minutes, it makes things very tough. Carraz, very much of a late in, and in the jersey 23, scored 87, so he was quite a popular option. Kick out with a 76. Preston, 43. There was some maybe hype around him running at Lasati in terms of when the teams first came out. We did see a shift. I think we sort of touched on this on the pod. We expected Chan to probably go into the back row and Howard to come in. He only played 22 minutes though, so Lasati had to play 58, and I thought he handled Preston really well.
Yeah, he did. Not an easy task to handle Preston, that's for sure. Preston had a pretty quiet game, to be fair. Viliami Kikau was the one that got the points there on the left edge. Matty Burton as well. That left edge was humming there. Matty Burton with an 81. He's got the goal kicking back, and obviously you would naturally think with an ankle injury or what the severity of the injury for Stephen Crichton that Burton will keep the goal kicking for the short term anyway. Even if Stephen Crichton is looking to play this week, I think you'll still see Burton with the kicking tee. It's just a shame he's been named at centre. But if Crichton does come into the team, Burton should shift back to 5'8", I'd naturally assume, and Reid Marnie drops out. We'll talk about that later. But that is...
Matty, that's probably where you would pot up, wouldn't it? Because like Ethan Strange being... I haven't looked at ownership, but I would imagine Ethan Strange is the most popular 5'8". If Burton does shift back to 6 on game day, that's probably an option that all three of us would probably look at.
Yeah, I think we would. But you want you want a goal kicker, but you want him to be playing 5'8". I want to say that Stephen Crichton's probably your best player, but they looked so much better the second that Toby Stexton walked out onto the park. I was messaging Ian, and he goes, shout out to Ian. He goes, oh, they're cooked now that Crichton's gone, and then you just look at how much better Toby Sexton is from around the park. And
yeah, kind of crazy, isn't it? That Dally M center of the year is good at center. Shock horror. I know. It's a big brain play, but yeah, I think it allows Galvin to play eyes up. As very cliche as that sounds, and Sexton, apart from one kick out in the full, I thought he was brilliant for 60 minutes. So yeah, they've made the change, and I think it's for the better of the team. And yeah, like we said, shock horror that Dally M's center of the year 3-4 years ago is the best center. Sorry, not the best center of the team, but makes the team better when he's at center.
We'll talk about the Dogs a little bit more very soon. Panthers 24, Warriors 8. Just too good in this one. Just grinded them out. I think the Warriors held on pretty well for the first 20 to 30 minutes, and then just it all started to fall apart a little bit there. And look, to be fair, this is kind of what everyone expected. It's a result that everyone expected. But I feel like the Warriors, the scoreline doesn't necessarily reflect how competitive the Warriors were for a decent amount of time in this game. So Isaiah Papali'i with an 87, Nathan Cleary, probably the most, I'm just guessing here, but I'm assuming the most popular captain, 86. So you get triple points for him at 258 or whatever that ends up being. Brighton Tottle with a 72, again, very popular this week, and we'll have a chat about him very soon. And Yo with a 69, giggity. Edwards, though. We were pretty high on Edwards, and he got a 51. A little bit disappointing. Are you going to restore the faith and have a crack again this week, Matty, with Edwards, or are you going to look in a different direction at fullback?
So I didn't have Edwards in the end. Okay. I captained Brian To'o in flex. because I had Xavier Coates and then ended up captaining Brian To'o. Like really just thought of finals as an opportunity to pot it up and really trying to get team of the week, and having guys like Xavier Coates and Brian To'o. When I heard he got moved to the left, I just thought wheels up. Let's put the captain on him, which means I didn't vice captain Cleary either, which turned out all right. I ended up going to Walsh. But look, Brian To'o, as soon as he went to that side, I thought Panthers probably could have not scored more on the Warriors, but played a bit more downhill and went to him a little bit more. But he looked great, like on the eye, and scored that one try. But yeah, I reckon if they caught on a bit earlier, they should have got a bit more ball, which was frustrating as a captainer for me. So.
Do you reckon they learned that lesson, Josh, this week? You know, they get another crack this week. They've got to play another game. They play the Raiders. They're going to be up for it. But Brian To'o on the left wing, they've got to get him more ball out there, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I think so too. Yeah, like he's your best outside back. Ellie Ball, you're on that dominant left side, so feed it and hopefully be a good pick. On the Warriors, like, I just worried for them. I think they had a sustained period of 15 minutes where they had 4 or 5 sets on the Panthers line and didn't come away with anything.
Yeah.
I sort of thought that was sort of it for them. They needed to get in front and have Penrith chase, especially away from home, but yeah, just couldn't do it, so you're always worried there. Lecker with the 77, Nick Quarry with the 71, Chance with the 68. Like, there wasn't a huge amount to talk about, and there was no one really from a relevant standpoint that was worth talking about here. Big Aaron Clark watch, because I got a message from one Brain Talks Ball halfway through this game saying, is Aaron Clark dead? And you look, he's played like 20. So yeah, he's played like 28 minutes out of the first 60. Came back on the back end and had a good PPM, but yeah, didn't do well for Aaron Clark. Did you start with him? Is that why you logged out? Oh,
yeah.
How did I lose to you both?
It's because you suck.
I vice captain Edward, he died as well. So
I vice captain Walsh. That was the difference. But like, yeah, I thought, it's funny, the logic. I was like, Huddy can go missing sometimes, and Eli Katoa, maybe if he doesn't get as good a ball, he might have a quieter game in a tough matchup. Aaron Clark, he's pretty safe. The ball they'll go up the middle a fair bit. And he's on like 28 after 60 minutes. I'm sitting there with my head in my hands. That was kind of when I checked out for the week, to be completely honest with you. I'm like, yeah, cool, good pick. That one worked out beautifully. But no dice. Anyway, that's okay. We get another crack this week, which is great, and I don't have to worry about trades. You can pick whoever you want. Sharks 20, Roosters 10. I backed the Roosters in this one. I was actually thinking the Roosters would get up. Marky Mark did his best, 103. Teddy 82 on the antipod from us, which look, still I pick Walsh over Teddy, so I'll take it. But probably performed a bit better than we predicted. Matty, you called Gus Crichton as a pick this week with a 74, scored a try. You probably with a try, you probably won a little bit more than a 74, but still relatively respectable score nonetheless.
Yeah, to be honest, that's what we saw all year. I like the matchup this week, so I went him, and I suppose that's why he scored a try. But yeah, he's been getting that sort of 50 to 55 in base power, and then went and scored a try in this one. So I mean, I'm not disappointed with the 74. It's just my other option I was going to get was Eli Katoa. So that's where it falls down. Like, yeah, pods work sometimes, and shock horror, I didn't own Tedesco either.
That's
why not?
That is a shock. Wow.
I'm gonna fade him this week too. I'll tell you that for free.
Good. The fall off, Josh, of Connor Watson needs to be studied.
Oh, absolutely.
36.
Absolutely. Fraud. Was the GOAT for the first 10 weeks. And I was pissed I didn't own him. And he's my DWZ from this year, from last year. So yeah. But no, on Teddy, I think 82 is a win-win. You had him, you put some kind of captaincy or vice captaincy on him, you'll absolutely take it. And if you faded him, you probably went Walsh if you're a smart person, unlike me. And you're happy with it with 100, obviously. So yeah, if you said the Roosters only scored 10 points and Teddy comes with 82, I think it's a win-win for all parties. Yeah, Mark stung. At this point, I checked out of the week. I checked out after Nick Meaney shit the bed. And Eli Katoa did wonders. I thought I was done then. In saying that, I checked my leagues that I care about. I'm only 200 points off first, which in this format feels like not much. So hopefully we'll make it up. But yeah,
Mark pod captain this week.
Big pod captain, big Jamal Fogarty guy. Big AFV guy. But yeah, Mark's got 100, which dagger in the heart of anyone that sort of anti-potted because he was the most popular centre wing by far.
Ronnie Mulatalo, 85. He's pretty popular this week as well. I've seen a fair few drafts floating around with him in it, which is completely fair. We'll talk about the games later. Blake Brayley with a 69, Giggity, Nico Hines with a 55, AFB with a 52. Otherwise, not much else to write home about. Kale Ero with a 41. Just not really getting involved in the game like he was pre-injury. Whether that's injury-based, whether that's just him trying to get back into the rhythm of first-grade footy, probably a combination of both. Bretton Nickera coming off the bench with a 23. I thought he was going to come in for Billy Burns, but they thought he probably needs some time off the bench and limited minutes, and they've named him there again this week. So interesting to see how they use him and whether there's a late switch there with Burns back to the bench. But we'll find that out very soon. Last game of the week was the probably the game of the year, nearly. And that's, there's been some games, that's for sure. Matty sitting there with a big grin on his face, for those of you listening on audio. 29-28, 94 minutes. Turn the game off at 80 minutes, you think the Raiders won. You come back and you realise the game wasn't over. This had everything, Matty. I'll let you kind of bask in the glory of the Broncos win here for a second.
Oh, well, it goes to one headbutt from Reece Walsh. Flipped a couple fans the bird. Hudson Young gets sent to the bin. I go, well, Hudson Young's a big out, but so is Reece Walsh. And then the Raiders score a couple tries while Paddy Carrigan is also in the bin for being taller than somebody else and the point of his shoulder knocking someone out. But that's fair. That's one thing that happens. And everybody thought that it was done. It was 28-12. Reece Walsh revenge tour. He comes back on. Apparently, Paddy Carrigan and Reece Walsh sitting there in the sheds talking about how they're going to get back out there and save the day. And they just got Reece Walsh the ball as much as he wanted, and he absolutely cooked. We were down 2 as the shot clock or the clock ran out, and Zach Hosking took his legs out. When you foul a field goal, you get your shot right in front after that. So,
how's the lingo here from Matty as well, by the way? Shot clock and foul. Have you been talking about NBA recently?
Oh, yeah, no, big. I can't wait for my Keyshawn George takes later. But, but yeah, look, got it in front, went to extra time, kept going. Everybody thought we were going to Walsh in Golden Point, and Benny Hunt bounces it off the goal. And we're not even mentioning the fact that Reece Walsh had a 2-point field goal that bounced off the crossbar. Like, this game had everything.
This is compared to like Cowboys grand final win, Penrith come from behind win against the Broncos a couple of years ago.
All the ones against the Broncos, thanks.
All the ones against the Broncos. It just seems like, but then the Broncos get the win here, so it's ironic in a way. But
ironic that it's Ben Hunt getting them the win as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But in saying that, when you're comparing this game as a top 3 finals game of all time behind that Cowboys win and the Penrith come from behind, that's insane. Like, very, very good game of footy. Scores-wise, Reece Walsh killed it, 128. Staggs, 111. Shout out to Lauren. 103 for Haas and 101 for Huddy Young. All over 100. Plenty of scores, 94 points. And I think, people might look into the minutes here and the points from the forwards a little bit more than they should. I've seen Joey Tarpany very popular this week in the front row forward. You take the extra however many minutes he played in extra time and Golden Point and, he's scoring sub 60. So it'd be interesting to see whether people see him as the best front row forward option if they played 80 minutes and not 94. Same with Corey Horsburgh. But they all got a little bit of a jump there. Ethan Strange with a 61 as well was pretty popular last week. I just checked when you mentioned him, Josh, and he's 40% owned at the moment for this week. But again, we don't know how many people haven't changed it from last week. Billy Walters, sadly, looks like he's out with a partial ACL tear. So that's his season over, unfortunately. How do you see this all shuffling about next week, Josh? Ezra Mam, I think, might be a chance to come back early.
Yeah, otherwise it's just Hunt 6 and Reynolds 7, you would imagine, and Walsh at the back. But I don't know. I feel quite vindicated because I think Reece Walsh is the second best player in the league when it's all going well. Probably the best player in the league when it's all going well, and we've finally seen that over the last 8 weeks. I think he's been the best player in the comp, and it hasn't been close.
By far,
Yeah, he's exceptional. 240-20 like basically just called game. When he came back on, he said, I bet, as the kids say, and just carried to a win. Like he was him. So yeah, great to see him perform. Puts an interesting standpoint on what you do in next week with Reynolds back. You would imagine we know that he does have a drop off with no goal kicking, no main playmaker responsibilities, but maybe Madge has seen what he can do when he is the main player. So it's going to be really interesting next week when we talk about that. But yeah, like the minutes are inflated hugely for everyone. Haas is 74 minutes, Ricky's 94 minutes, Carrigan 70 minutes. Like everyone's playing massive minutes, and we will talk about front row forward in a minute. But for me, it's probably still Tarpany, just because there's no one else really. But yeah, overall, great game, great ending. Shout out to Jed Stewart for having long fingers.
yeah, good shout.
They're long, bro. They're fish fingers.
That's last week. Let's move into this week, eh? Raiders Sharks to kick things off. The good thing is no changes for either team. I think Tom Hazelton on the extended bench is the only possible change to come into the team. Matty Nicholson still named in the 18 jersey, Josh, for the Raiders, sadly. And look, it's hard to change something that isn't broken. They've got a really good system at the moment. They've played with the same team for what feels like nearly 12 weeks without changes or minimal changes. So, yeah, but bringing him in might disrupt things a little bit. But in saying that, it might bring an X factor for the Raiders. So it'll be interesting to see what Ricky does there. Obviously now we're in must-win game territory. You don't have that fallback plan B kind of game there where you can test things out, and it is at GIO. I'm interested to see how the Sharks go in this one. Like, they could literally change everyone's thoughts on them this year after going back-to-back wins from in tough spots. So I'm interested to see how the Sharks go. Knock off the Roosters in game one. It was at Shark Park, so they had the advantage there. But if they can win in Canberra against the first team this year, that would go a long way, I think, for them to probably have that self-belief coming into the semis. Look,
all I'll say, I'm no expert NRL coach, but Matty Nicholson's played. He's never lost against the Broncos, and he averages 2 tries a game against the Broncos. So, look, crazy to take him out, I think, and more. He averages two tries a game at GAO against the Broncos, and 100% win rate. So crazy to take him out, in my opinion. But yeah, you would find it hard to change that side. I'm also really curious to see how the Raiders just turn up, because you had the game won twice, and you are now playing in sudden death football, and you have a very short turnaround, and it's very mentally just debilitating, I would imagine. So I'm curious on which Raiders side does turn up.
Yeah, I mean, it's now or never. So
I do think Ricky is probably one of the best coaches, I think, probably put in this sort of position, like backs against the wall. Like, I do have belief. I'd be very surprised if Sharks won this. I'm really good at defending. Yeah, I'm really good at just defending whole fan bases, but I just can't see a world where the Sharks are good enough.
I see a world where the Sharks win like 40-6, or they get fucking trounced. It's like, I don't think this game's gonna be close. I think it's gonna be like a pumping either side.
Ricky isn't a guy to go down twice back to back and get bounced. I don't think. They're going to be up for this one. Bulldogs.
You don't think there's a bit of crows about this team?
No, not really.
Adelaide reference.
Good reference. Yeah. I got it.
Yeah,
I don't. AFL. Why are you talking about AFL?
I'm a big AFL guy.
Yeah. Okay. Is that
Adelaide Crows won the Minor Premiership and just went boom boom straight out?
Yeah, mad, bounced. That's a shame. What a shame. Shout out to the sponsor of the show, Ryan Hammond. He'll get a shout out soon. He's a Crom supporter, so he'll be stoked about that. Yeah. Bulldogs Panthers at Accor Stadium. Burton's at centre. Crichton's in the reserves after what looked like a season-ending injury. I have no idea how he's even been named. That was supposed to end his season, but anyway, like if he's a chance at playing, it's a 60 or 50%. Crichton is probably still worth having on the field compared to everybody else that they've got as options. So, but Burton probably shifts. If Crichton comes in, Burton shifts to 5'8". You'd think that Galvin goes back to 7 and Sexton goes back to the bench. Marnie drops out. But at the moment, as it stands, Sexton in the 7, Bronson Sherry's back from concussion, Reid Marnie's on the bench, and Montoya's on the extended bench. So, whilst they did suffer some injuries, they've got some potential guys coming back. So, good for the Bulldogs, but they're up against it, aren't they? No changes for the Panthers. Mitch Kenny is on the extended bench. He'll come in for Luke Summerton if all is good with his hammy. Tough for the Dogs. They're up against it, I think. What do you think here? What are your predictions here, Matty? What do you reckon? You reckon the Panthers can get up for this one?
Look, Panthers would have to be probably $1.30 favourites. I don't know. I'm not looking at it. But I was impressed with the Dogs with Toby Sexton at the helm. So I actually think there could be a little bit of an upset. I know I'm looking at some Dogs thinking that they can score some points this week. So, yeah, I do just think that they look so much more direct with Toby Sexton running. And honestly, if any team can upset the Panthers, I think the Dogs are a team that can do it. They just look like they turned their season around last week. And disappointing that they lost, but the Storm are a quality side as well. I think just training all week with Toby Sexton at the 7. I think they'll be up for this one, and I think it'll be a lot closer than everyone thinks.
Yeah, everyone's expecting a blowout. You must be a bookie. $1.33 they're paying on Sportsbet. So not bad. Not a bad little guess there. Definitely jumped on Sportsbet before he mentioned that.
I did not.
Yeah.
I did not. I don't even have an account.
Oh, bullshit. This is a moment where he walks off and gets another beer like nothing happened. I think the Dogs I think they're going to be up against it. I think it's going to be hard to win. But in saying that, Penrith have shown chinks in the armour defensively this year at different times. It's more a matter of can the Bulldogs keep them out? Because I think if they can defend them well and keep them out and keep them under 18 points, I think the Dogs are every chance to go with them, Josh. Like, how do you see it all playing?
Yeah, I don't know. I just look at Edwards, Talangi, Cleary. I just back them over Tracy, Sexton, Galvin. Like probably where it comes down to.
You're a big Galvin guy, though.
I like Lockie Galvin. Like I think he's in a really shit position where his forwards aren't giving him a role on that he needs. No, but I think he's been like bashed in the media as well. He's not a halfback. I do feel sorry for him. Obviously he made his bed and slept in it when he left the Tigers. That's fine, but I think he's been sort of pigeonholed into this 7 role, and Burton's not a 6 that can control a game that you need him to. And like apart from Max King, it's like there's no real big forwards that are really laying the platform for them. We'll be curious to see how Galvin does go with Leo Thompson next year, if that does help him. But it's tough. Like if you're a front foot footy player and you're just getting dominated in the ruck by Stefano and Trent Liero, it's tough to do anything. But yeah, it's interesting. But no, I think it's very cliche, but Penrith are peaking at the right time, as the analysis say. I just back the spine. I think there's been some really good improvements from Penrith's forwards. I think Papali's been brilliant. Lindsay Smith's great. If you get Mitch Kenny back, it's going to be absolutely huge for them. And having guys like Liam Martin and obviously Isaiah Yeo, it's ideal to have a very, very good Australian internationals in your team. Hot take.
Funny that. A few balls hit the ground as well. Luke Summerton's service out of hooker wasn't great either last week. Like Mitch Kenny will be, he'll take them to that next level this week, I think.
I think Schneider, surely they're just going to play Schneider a few more minutes. Like maybe, I know we do the BBL podcast, but maybe take a bit of shine off the ball with Summerton and then bring Schneider in.
Shine off.
What about Supercoach cheapie Sonny Luke? Get him in.
Yeah, get him in. He could be anything.
I mean, if I had a trade for what was it when they rested everybody around 26 for vibes, like bringing in Sonny Luke for that game would have been ultimate vibes. Throwback to 2023. Let's have a chat about the positions and the players we think you should be looking at this week.
Targets acquired.
As always, Ryan from Astute Newstead sponsors this section of the podcast for trade targets. Good old Ryan, up the crom. We've had another rate cut. Everybody knows by now that the RBA is dropping those rates, which is fantastic for us. So if your rates are above 5.4%, he says that you can do better and he can do it for you. So make sure to contact Ryan. The link is in the description below. Won't cost you a thing. He gets paid by the banks to get you the best deal. So let him do all the hard yards and the work for you to save you some money. Put it back in your pocket. Hooker, Blake Brayley. I mean, is there any other obvious option? It's hard when we're looking at positions this week, because honestly, there will be, I reckon, 4 or 5 of these positions where we go, I don't know if there's a number 2.
I think Starling's closer than what we are giving credit for. The issue with Starling is I can give you 5 Raiders I want. I can't give you 5 Storm. I can't give you 5 Sharks I want. That's my only concern. I do think Starling and Brayley are not, Munster and whoever the second best 5/8 was last year away. But there's more Raiders that I want than Sharks I want. That's probably the only downside to Starling. But if you're going pot up, I think, it's the way to go.
Everyone will go Brayley. It's more a matter of, Starling can go big. He's had a couple of scores that have gone pretty close to 100.
I also he's very young, and this is not like a knock on him, but the Raiders went backwards when Paddy came on. He was only on for 10 minutes, and they look shit. And yeah, I think Ricky trusts Starlo a lot. So I think he'll play, he's not going to play as many minutes, but he'll have a much better PPM than Brayley in terms of pure base and work rate and attack. So if you wanted to go different, I think Starlo could be. And we've seen him go tons, I was scrolling through, so shout out SuperCoach sister, she's probably listening. I was scrolling through all my posts to find a very old post to send them, and I saw a reel that we put up in round 5, and the thumbnail was Starling season keeper ? So yeah, so he does have that potential to do that, and he just provides a lot of points. So Brayley is all 3 of our consensus, I would imagine, but I don't think the gap to Starling is huge. It's just if you don't have 3 Raiders in your team.
Yep, he's the pot option. Rate it. Front row forward, you said Joey Tapp's probably number 1 for you. I'd probably tend to agree. I think the only maybe other option would be AFB if you're trying to take a swing and maybe think that he's going to aim up a little bit. The Raiders have a big pack. He's going to be, I reckon AFB will be up for it this week.
Yep.
It's a game where I kind of feel like he steps up in, where he knows he's up against it. He knows he's coming up against a real big forward pack. He's the guy who needs to stamp his mark on this game if the Sharks are going to win. It's more a matter of which AFB turns up. So,
Matty, I was looking at Max King. He played very low minutes last week, and he played 37 minutes. Josh Curran played nearly 70 minutes. I think that's obviously with the Stephen Crichton injury. But front row forward's really tough for me. I'm looking at a Lindsay Smith, but again, how many Panthers do you have in your team? So, what do you think, Matty?
I chase upside, so I am looking at AFB. I'm kind of looking at a fair few Raiders, I suppose, as well. I actually think this is the game that I'll target a bit more outside of the halves. I had Ethan Strange last week. I think Hudson Young or somebody like that will get in. So, yeah, kind of looking to pot it up and stay away from taps as well. I just think, I can't see Joey Tappaney scoring 100, but there's a world where AFB can. And I do think to really make some noise in finals, you do have to pot it up. I know that didn't work week 1, but if you're one of those teams that are quite high, you're going to start to look for pods now to, I suppose, break away from the pack. And I think we could sort of catch up from this point onwards. And I do think if you chase the upside in AFB instead of probably your safe 70 in Joey Taps, I do think that that's something that I will go for.
I'm with you. Yeah, I think AFB is probably my pick, only because we're sitting 30,000. What the worst thing that can possibly happen is we get worse, and it's a 4-week season. Thankfully,
40,000.
Yeah, we could end up 41,000.
If you're ranked at 41,000, honestly, have a good look. Good look at yourself.
Delete app.
Genuinely.
You can't even delete app because you're playing APL now.
Yeah, no, I can't. I mean, that's going backwards as well after last week. So yeah, I'm washed. As Pat Riley once said, maybe I am washed. Pack it in.
Hardy Young running up against, look, if it's Nicker, if it's Billy Burns, whatever, I like that matchup. I think that's a really nice matchup coming up against that side. It's the obvious pick. You've also got Viliami Kikau if you think he can go big against his old team. Whether that's a narrative for you that you want to spin. Isaiah Yeo, depending on how many Penrith Panthers you have. The problem is I've already got 3, so I've maxed out my Panthers this week. So I don't really want to spend one of my Panthers slots on Yeo. Aside from that, you mentioned Josh Curran, who I don't mind. He's got 2 RF front row forward dual as well, potentially. So it depends on where you want to plug and play him. But, the minutes may be a bit skewed from last week, but don't hate that either.
Yeah, no, that's the concern is the minutes for Curran. Like, I'd much prefer him at front row forward. But like after that, you're looking at Jesse Colquhoun and Bailey Hayward. So
Don't you
it's
knock
probably
Jesse Colquhoun? He's the
no,
guy.
no, no. I'm eyeing off Jamin Salmon, or Scott Sorensen personally. I do think Liam Martin could be a kind of a hot shout. If you didn't have multiple Panthers, I do not hate Liam Martin
Big
as a
game
pod.
player.
Yeah, up against Kicks, so it would be a nice little battle there.
Yeah.
Running
mind
off Cleary's hip.
Yeah, I like it.
Good chat.
I like it.
Good chat for all of us to just get Hudson Young.
Yeah, pretty much. Speaking of good chat for us all to get Nathan Cleary. Is there... I mean, look, you can get Flex, you can get Nico, really, if you wanted to. I mean, do you want to pot up with Fogarty? I just don't know whether this is the week to go against... Actually, I don't know whether there's any logic I can spin you to go against Cleary at halfback.
If I told you Cleary wasn't my halfback, I can leave with that as a clickbait title and like put in the fine print. Here's my flex.
Yeah. You got Nico at halfback and then
Yeah,
Cleary
we
at
could.
flex.
No, I got
Nice.
Fogarty. We can click this up. Oh, Nathan Cleary is not my halfback this week. And then you just, like, leave out
rate
the
that.
rest.
Capital
Leave out the
letters
rest.
at the top. And then nobody will listen or watch at all. And then
No,
they'll
no.
flame you in the comments.
Of course. No, I've got Cleary Fogarty. I just think Himes is. There's no fullbacks, and all the centers suck. So it's like, where do you go?
Yep.
So for me, it's Cleary Fogarty, but you can get Cleary Himes. It's whatever, but it's Cleary and someone.
I might just get one halfback. That's how my team's structured at the moment.
Yeah,
And I mean, yeah, I'm at 30,000th. So, you know, you can take that with a grain of salt. Good advice. Let's move on to 5'8".
I can only dream of the heights of 30,000. So maybe I need to take your advice on board.
I do like Hindshout just as a goal kicker. Like, just
Thanks,
like,
man.
right
You
next
like
to
Nico?
Mount.
You think Nico is a good SuperCoach pick? Thanks, man. That's a
Thanks,
big
man.
insight.
Yeah, I mean, nobody else is probably going to get him because they're going Cleary. So
Next week, let me give you the hot tip. Next week, Payne Haas at front row forward. He will be a really good pick. So you can... What is it? What's the saying? You can take that to the bank.
Take to the back. Thanks,
yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
I might spin a narrative. He looked a bit banged up last week.
Oh, here we go. All right. 5'8". Ethan Strange, obviously one of the most popular picks. He scored, I think, 6 tries in 4 weeks. So he's flying at the moment, Ethan Strange. Great running game coming up against what I would consider to be their weaker edge. Don't mind it. If Matty Burton gets shifted back to 5'8", if somehow Stephen Crichton ends up playing, Matty Burton goal kicking could be an option. I don't mind it. I just don't love it. I'm probably just going to stick strong with Strange this week. How are you guys thinking? Matty, what are you thinking with 5'8"?
I had Strange last week. I think maybe with the high ownership, I could get swayed to Burton. Again, goal kicking narrative. Yeah, that's probably the only two for me. I'm not really loving Blaze this week. I don't think I'll ever own Braden Trindle, so there's that. Lachlan
This
Galvin.
could be your time to do it, though. This could be your time to say you could give love to our regular on a Wednesday night Ange. You could jump on the Braden Trindle shout because he rinses me every week about Trindle because I think I said last year that he sucks. He averaged like 100 for the next.
At his
5
first
weeks.
ever viral reel on social media, where when I talk viral, we were nobodies and we got over 1,000 views on it, and we thought, "Fuck, we're the best." And it was Matty basically saying Braden Trindle is not an NRL standard footballer. It was fucking awesome. It was a great reel.
No, I stand by that. If you ask who is the most average NRL player, not good, not bad,
Tricky Trindle. He sits in that category
it's just
perfectly.
6 out of 10.
Yep.
Daniel Atkinson.
So basically, long-winded way to say Ethan Strange.
That's where I'm going with it. Yep. Anyway, you said centre wing's dead. Sorry, go, Matty.
I was just gonna say, or Burton. Like you could play Burton.
I have no Bulldogs in my team at the moment, so maybe I need to fill my Bulldogs quota.
Yeah.
My wife would be very unhappy with me as a supporter, so we'll see. We'll see how we go. Centre wing is probably the most open. I mean, Jacob Carraz coming up against Penrith, sure. Ronaldo Mulatalo, say no more. He's the GOAT. He's in my team. Don't even have to think twice. Kailero, not a bad shout, really, is he? Savelio Tamale, maybe, if you're looking for a pod. I don't mind Tamale. He's hit or miss. Like he's, let's call it rocks or diamonds. It's probably the right term for Tamale, but did nothing last week. Does that mean he's due? Maybe.
That's how it works.
Hmm.
For me,
Chat.
like I have a Panthers centre wing, and it's not Toto. I just
Oh, are you going Casey McLean or Alamotti?
Alamotti.
Isaac Tunga.
Hey.
I don't love Karaz up against Toto. And if Matt Burton's playing right centre, I would imagine it's Sherry. I think they move Sherry over.
Yep.
But two very big bodies potentially. I mean, regardless, like Sherry's not a small man, so it's going to be a big centre and a big winger up against Toto. Regardless, and both of the centres I think are very good defensively. I think Sherry's a good defensive centre, and so is Burton. So I'm targeting the other side of the field, so Alamotti on the Cleary side. So it's just the way that I'm going with it.
Is this going to be Sienna Katoa versus Ronaldo Mulatalo all over again?
Yeah,
If I take Toto, you take Alamotti.
it'll be an eight pack of Bolter. This is like double or nothing.
Yeah, triple or nothing. Right, when you look at what the Broncos did to the Raiders last week, their back five scored. The 1 through 5 scored tries. So I feel like, and looking at the try map for this game, the Raiders-Sharks game, obviously the Raiders have conceded 16 tries and 11 tries to left wing and left centre, so 27 tries to that wing. I mean, I feel like Ronnie's going to be in the game here on that left edge. He scored 2 tries last week. There's just a lot to like about this matchup. Jed Stewart defensively, has been questionable at times as well. So he took that challenge up against Marky Mark last week. I reckon he's going to have a bit of a chip on his shoulder this week. So I'm going with Ronnie, and I'm pretty confident about it. He's been good for me at the back end of the year too. It seems like they're going down that side a fair bit. Let's move on to fullback, because we're stacked at fullback. There are so many amazing options at fullback this week. Let me read through them. Dylan Edwards.
William Kennedy,
Kyo
Connor
Weeks, Connor Tracy.
and Kyle Weeks.
KO
That
Weeks
is it.
against the fullback killers.
Yeah, I think maybe 14 out of the 17 teams are fullback killers when it comes to Kyo Weeks. Like he'll go 180 against the other 3, don't you worry. But I'm not buying Kyo Weeks this week. No way.
I'm also not buying Will Kennedy or Connor Tracy. Hope that helps.
it's Dylan Edwards. Just roll with that.
Now it's still Edwards, right? Yeah, like it's still Edwards. The question is, does he get a colour around his name this week after last week?
I'm just going to say no, only because I just want to get spicy and pick a pod as my captain or my vice captain. I might vice captain Cleary and just captain someone like Ronnie or something, just to see if I can make up some ground.
I kind of like Karaz being a big body against Toto. Like, if I was a coach, I would just kick it to him on the full.
Well, I'm running the old faithful. Just Edwards and Cleary. Just run it back.
I mean, look, last week we just spoke at the start of the show about the pod's not working, and the obvious picks worked. And if that kind of that thought process continues and that happens, that trend continues this week, then Josh is going to leapfrog us all. So just go with the obvious picks.
To the lofty heights of 28k.
It's gonna be good. We're gonna have to get a little trophy. We got a trophy of the regular season champion this week, and we'll get a little Kmart trophy, like plastic one, that you can get in the toy section for the winner of finals. Actually, it probably needs to be bigger.
We can get like a block of wood with a nail through it, and you can have a Bolter beer can.
Sweet. I have 2 sharks. Oh my god, my team goes Sharks, Raiders, Panthers. It's very nice and aesthetically pleasing.
No dogs.
I also have no dogs in my team.
No, but mine literally is Shark, Raiders, Panthers. In terms of like the order, top to bottom.
Yep.
I like it. It's aesthetically pleasing.
Sharks, Raiders, Sharks, Panthers.
That's gay.
Yeah.
That's Raiders, Sharks, Raiders, Panthers, Bulldogs, Sharks, Panthers, Bulldogs.
He's all over the shop.
I like my sequence better.
Oh dear. Captaincy, I won't play the stinger because I feel like maybe we kind of already touched on it. It's, if the smart option or the straight edge option is going to be Cleary into Edwards.
Cleary here, and then everyone else.
You have to have an armband on Cleary, yes.
Yeah.
I don't think it's an armband. I think it's the armband.
I think the orange armband goes on Cleary. Yeah. And the VC can go on someone that you want to get. If you want to go spicy upside,
Huddy?
you can pick a centre wing or something. Yeah, I don't mind Huddy. Huddy's his matchup's good. So I can get around it. But
Jamal.
yeah.
I might just VCC both my halfbacks.
Yeah. You know what we just did, right? And this has got to be near a podcast record, especially for us, because we love a chat. 45 minutes to talk about 2 games. We did fucking pretty good.
I thought this was going for 28 minutes.
Legit.
Yeah, in our chat, Braino said in and out in 25. Yeah, I mean, we spent too long talking about Jamin Summon, so
In and out in 25 on the recap. And then we move on. Then we move on to the preview. So that was fun. But no, look, that's where our heads are at for teams this week. And look, it's pretty grim when you only got 2 teams to talk about, 4 teams to talk about 2 games. So this is where it starts to get hard.
I reckon week on week we just get longer. Like as the games get shorter, like grand final, it's just like an hour and a half.
Yeah, hour and a half preview of the grand final matchup between the Panthers and the Broncos, Matty.
We should do a watch party.
I don't think that's been done before. So we could do a watch party. Let's give that a go. We'll see how we go. Actually, no, but we're probably going to be way too many beers deep. We're going to be way too many beers deep to do a watch along.
I am now.
What happened the last time Broncos were in a grand final, Matty? How placid were you?
I was with him.
I was next to Braino.
And he was not placid at all.
All right, let me rephrase. How placid were you afterwards, and then how placid were you at full time of 2015?
Oh, about the same level. It was pretty high. I don't know, man. I wasn't even. I was just wrecked. I was just emotionally wrecked, because like in the middle of we were at the Gold Coast, we were at the Cass, and like everybody's wearing Broncos jerseys and everybody was celebrating, and then like we just all hands up in disbelief. Braino was wearing a Broncos shirt. It was unreal.
Yeah, I was supporting. Funnily enough, you know, Matty loves a chat, right? I didn't hear a word out of his mouth for 45 minutes after that game finished. Not one. Like because Horse was with us as well. So me and Horse were just sitting there. We were drinking beers. It didn't really bother us too much because we couldn't care less. But Matty was shattered. Yeah, proper shattered. Like, not a word for 45 minutes.
How do you lose both grand finals you've played in recently in like the most heartbreaking fucking fashion?
I don't know.
You're taking him back there. He stopped talking. Let's bring him back to life.
And we'll end this episode soon. But like, you're up against like the greatest 20 minutes of football from one player you've ever seen in the last grand final, and then you had the game won in 2015. It's just Michael Morgan just bending you over.
I know. I still, when I close my eyelids at night, sometimes I just see Kyle Felt scoring.
You just see Darius Boyd like run to the corner and go, "Oh shit!"
Yeah.
Quick question: What would have been more deflating, Thurston kicking it from the sideline or the field goal the way it ended?
The field goal the way it ended.
Yeah, with just Hunt dropping it cold on the kickoff, you're like, "Fuck, well, that's it."
I think you can accept a conversion from the sideline. You can accept that.
Sideline, from the wrong side. You're like, okay, fair play, whatever.
And like we'd seen Thurston do it like in Origins and everything like that. It's like as he's lining it up, you're like, he's just gonna kick this. Like
I think it's the hope, right? I think it's the hope because like you're like, oh fuck, they scored, it's over. And then he misses the kick. You're like, oh, we've got a chance. And then Hunt just
rough. Well, we'll leave it on that very high note.
I wouldn't know what it's like to lose a grand final, Matty. My team's never lost one, so
yeah, we're 1 from 1, mate. Lift your game. 100% success rate. Don't talk about the last 14, 15 years. That doesn't matter.
Big Magpies fan.
Yeah, guys, that'll do us. Good luck for week 2 of SC finals. Hopefully, you can maybe do a little bit better than 30,000th. We'll be back on.
Respect.
We'll be back next. Yeah, sorry, 27,000th. We'll be back next week to bring you the semi-final preview for week 3 of the finals. Catch you then.
Cheerio.